Hello and welcome, everyone. Welcome to another episode of our weekly segment on Bhagirath JaaTaa. Got my boy Rakimul here with me. Uh, our two usual suspects are still on the way, so we'll get uh, we'll get started with this week's episode here. Lot to cover, Rakimul. England, India, second test. South Africa, New Zealand, first test. We got the Under 19 World Cup, Australia, West Indies ODI series, and then Sri Lanka, Afghanistan. But first of all, let's start with Fabian Allen. What's happening in Johannesburg? What's going on there?
No, I mean, we know that Johannesburg has unfortunately had a history with crime, and this is no different. Maybe someone identified that this is a cricketer
Yeah,
coming to play these leagues. He's definitely going to have some money in hand, and unfortunately, and I mean, even then, like even without the assumption, it's not unusual for such crimes to be occurring in different parts of the world, and
yeah,
unfortunately, South Africa has been on the bad side of things.
yeah. It's
Yeah, it's very, very unfortunate, and it brings the question of the tournament organizers on whether they are enforcing the right kind of security or not.
security. Yeah.
Because you see, if it happened at a different part of the world, the repercussions would be much more severe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 100%. So that's the funny thing. So the way this system works in at least South Africa or Australia during the BBL is a lot of players will travel by themselves to and from games, either by foot, by taxi, or sometimes there's a team bus in play. So Fabian Allen's thing actually happened after the game that they had. Pearl Royals had a game, and then he was going back to the hotel, probably having like a little chill time after the game, having a drink or something, and then going back home. So unfortunate, and like you said, it doesn't look good on the security
You
aspect of
can't
the
have the
tournament.
same security protocols in South Africa that you do in Australia.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. And
So
and
Thakur is joining us.
Mr. Sabir Hassan Shagar
Hello, hello, hello. What's up? Long
here
time
on
no see.
Never Here on Time. Uh, Sagar, we were just talking about Fabian Allen, but we'll get right into it here. Let's start with that Sri Lanka and Afghanistan first test that just happened. Um, Unfortunately for Afghanistan, obviously, they don't play Test cricket as much as it is already. But before we even get into the result of it, Rakimul, Afghanistan's won 3 out of their first 7 Test matches. A lot of teams did not win their first 3 Test matches for many many years when they first
But
started
that was
playing.
the talk about Afghanistan cricket when they first came into the scene, up until 2021, when they were somewhat consistently playing Test cricket.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, with the World Test Championship getting a full run, we were talking about this earlier off air that, how uh, Afghanistan and Ireland got their Test status a year before the World Test Championship started, which is
Correct.
just terrible timing. It means
Yeah.
that they can't participate in the World Test Championship, and at the same time, teams in the World Test Championship won't have enough time to
Yeah.
cater to these teams and start playing against these teams regularly, or
You're
if
right.
at all.
Yeah.
That is why a lot of Afghanistan star players aren't featuring in the Test side. You can't even
Hmm.
blame them at this point.
Yeah.
That is the unfortunate part. And yeah, Afghanistan had all the potential in the world because, of course, it was easier for them in a sense that the 3 wins came against Ireland, Zimbabwe, and Bangladesh.
Bangladesh.
Of
Yeah.
course, Bangladesh shouldn't be in the same tier, but at the time, Bangladesh were terribly underperforming in red ball cricket. At the time, just focusing on 2019, I think
Yeah.
they didn't win a single game in 2019 in Test
Yeah.
cricket.
Yeah.
So they were going through a terrible phase, and it just so happened that they came
They ran
across
into
in that
Afghanistan.
very year.
Yeah.
So all those things aside, it's more to do with Afghanistan's rise. It's less explainable in terms of stats and data, and more
Hmm.
explainable just by the fact that they have that sheer determination to pull off anything.
Yeah.
Right now, that determination isn't crossing with their test plans. The
Yeah,
test plans are more along the lines of get a reserve team, sort of. Not necessarily a reserve team, but more domestic players and not the proven star players that have
yeah,
emerged out of the Afghani scene. So yeah, maybe Shagor can shed some more light into this topic.
yeah. Shagor,
Yeah, I think
first question. Yeah,
yeah,
go for it. Go for it.
yeah,
No,
I
no.
think it's a good topic to start with. The Afghanistan Sri Lanka series. It was interesting.
Yeah, no. So, in terms of runs for Afghanistan, Ramat Shah got a 91 first innings. Ibrahim Zadran got 100 second innings. Ramat Shah also got a 50 in the second innings. Ibrahim Zadran's uncle got a 47 in the second innings. So there were some runs there and thereabouts. But yeah, if you want to chime in on the innings from Ibrahim Zadran and I guess Ramat Shah across the series, across the test match.
Yeah, I think Ramat Shah has been the most technical batter for Afghanistan for a long, long time, and it doesn't look like it was his seventh or eighth, sixth, seventh, whatever test match.
Yeah,
It looked like he has been playing long format cricket for a long, long time, looking at how solid his defense is and all his technique, leaving the ball, ducking underneath the short one.
yeah,
Ibrahim also is a very good plus point for Afghanistan because he can play all the formats, and
yeah,
in the T20s he can play aggressively, and in the test match that just concluded he showed that he has the talent to even push forward his case for long-term test captaincy as well. He's a
yeah,
youngster, he has all
yeah,
the attributes to be a good batsman and a good leader in the team as well. And also the partnership between Rahmat and Ibrahim, it was a delight to watch. I was skipping the England India test for a couple of sessions to watch that session.
yeah,
Man, excellent, solid batting. They didn't give a sniff to Sri Lankans. They were, I think, about 200 for just one wicket,
yeah.
and
And
then it
then
all
that
collapsed.
collapsed. Yeah,
Yeah, but I
yeah,
think that is to be expected, as we are saying. It's still a very new test team in
yeah,
terms of overall experience, so that is bound to happen some days. But the way they fought back while batting, they were behind by a long way in the test, but then 200 for one. This shows their character. Many other teams would have liked to, just hit out and get
yeah,
as
yeah.
much
Just
as possible, but they built an innings and they showed that they have what it takes. Also, I think good point would be the new other Zadran. I think Navid Zadran.
yeah,
He was
Navid
very,
Zadran.
like, he was bowling in the 140s, and
Hmm.
then he was troubling some of the more experienced Sri Lankan batsmen. So it was his debut test as well. So I think good signs for Afghanistan's future.
Yeah, we'll get into Navid Zadran because he had a 4 for I think in their first innings when they were bowling. But um, in terms of that batting collapse, Rakimul, we kind of saw it as a theme when Bangladesh was playing their Test cricket. First few years. It was a very common theme. What is it that causes this, batting collapse to happen even after you get such a good start? Guys who have been sitting around for a while waiting to bat just can't come and replicate what two other guys before them have done. What causes this?
So highlighting first the fact that, you know, the way Noor Ali Zadran to a certain extent, but more importantly, Ibrahim Zadran and Rahmat Shah, as Shagor was saying, both of them have near impeccable technique. And the way they were handling Prabhat Jayasuriya in particular,
Yeah,
knowing the fact that he is Sri Lanka's most threatening red ball bowler, it was very impressive to watch. And the way they kept themselves composed, you kind of knew that untested middle order won't be able to do that. Other than Shahidi, none of the other middle order batters are tested. And the
hmm,
problem is, I know red ball cricket and white ball cricket are drastically different, but the reason
yeah,
they still seem to need these white ball players in the red ball side is because their red ball cricketers aren't being tested or challenged at that level until
yeah,
they're suddenly being thrown in to play these test matches. It's
yeah,
what happened in Bangladesh in the summer of 2023. It's what we saw again in Sri Lanka. They're improving, don't get me wrong, but the whole
yeah,
point is they need more consistent exposure, which the middle order isn't getting. That middle order is completely untested and very inexperienced, unfortunately. And
Yeah,
Sri Lanka took the best advantage of that. Credit to Sri Lanka as well. They were confident once they got that wicket. You could see their entire body language changed completely once they
yeah.
got that
Once they
second
got
wicket
there,
because they
yeah,
knew that that middle order is now exposed,
yeah,
particularly after Ibrahim Zadran got out. So yeah,
yeah,
well, with that said, Afghanistan need to find a way to make it work. ICC need to find a way to better manage, especially Afghanistan and Zimbabwe. Sorry, Afghanistan and Ireland, given
Ireland,
that they
yeah,
were the two new teams. Ireland is also going to play a series against Sri Lanka, I believe.
yeah.
I think Ireland facing Afghanistan in later this month.
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan,
Either
Okay.
yeah. I
Ireland
think they have.
Afghanistan or Ireland Sri Lanka. Most likely Afghanistan Ireland.
Yeah, I think both of those series are taking place like this year. It's just one of them is in the
Yeah,
near future and the other one is at the end of the year. That's the small difference, I think.
yeah.
But other than that, let's just come back to the topic. It was disappointing to see Afghanistan collapse the way they did, but it's
Yeah,
also somewhat expected, unfortunately. It's just we hope that with more exposure, these things sort themselves out.
yeah. No, 100%. That's the thing with Test cricket is, or some of these guys don't even get chance to play as much first class cricket back home, or the conditions that they will play first class cricket in is probably not as, like, what's it called, conducive to maybe
You
batting
know,
long periods, because
yeah.
sometimes, yeah, yeah, that's something there. But one of the things I just noticed is all the pacers that played for Afghanistan in this series, they're averaging around 24 to 28, where I think 24 is Naveed Zadran's averaging 24, and Qais Ahmed is averaging 14 in first class cricket.
1-4 or 4-0.
1-4.
You know, Ziaur Rahman, in I
Yeah,
think 30 games, he has picked up nearly 200 wickets.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
and then in Sri Lanka, he comes in more kind of
Sorry,
conducive series.
Qais Ahmed is 21. Sorry, 21.44.
Yeah,
That's his bowling average. Yeah,
so I expected Ziaur Rahman to pick up a few wickets, but the Sri Lankan pitches were not that conducive to spin, and he didn't pick up any wicket at all, maybe just one or two. But yeah, I think that shows the level of first class cricket in Afghanistan. A player like Bahir Shah, he scored 300 being
yeah,
a teenager, and now he can't get in the test team.
yeah.
And also,
So,
when he was given opportunity, he couldn't score much. I don't think he scored a 50 as well. So I
so
think, yeah, there's a big gulf.
and it seems like maybe that their pitches are very much spin conducive, because Ziaur Rahman and Qais Ahmed are averaging what you would expect good first class bowlers to be averaging. Ziaur Rahman's averaging 19 point something, Qais Ahmed 21 point something, and then the Pacers are averaging 27, 26, 28, 24. So I think, I mean, it's very hard given that the situations that they have, or the conditions that they get. But even if they're able to play some of their first class matches in conditions where it challenges batters to bat longer against pacers, because I think we know that Afghanistan, you guys would probably agree that Afghanistan in short format cricket has caught up a lot quicker than everyone expected, given they were Division 5 what 15 years ago maybe, or something like that. So how do they catch, what is the way for them to catch up in test cricket, given, say, they're not playing as much test cricket, but there's an opportunity for them to, say, host A-team series or improve their first class system? I guess you guys can both chime in on this. Is how do they get into a position where they can start catching up?
First thing you got to remember, you got to think along the lines of what ACB actually want, because
Yeah,
to benefit ACB, the white ball setup actually benefits ACB. It's very rewarding what
yeah,
the white ball cricket is giving them right now. With red ball cricket, they don't get that. With tests, even when Afghanistan did win their first three out of what six games, I think it
Six
was.
games. Yeah.
First
Yeah.
three out of their first six games. They got
Hmm.
nothing in return for that.
No.
But they achieved that by 2021. In 2022, they played zero test matches.
Yeah.
That is where if ICC or even the ACB for that matter don't actually intervene and don't the ACC, sorry, I meant
Hmm.
if no one intervenes, if no one gives them that little bit of incentive to actually improve their test setup,
Yeah.
it's not worth it for them. Because even
No.
if they host a series, they have to go to their second home in the UAE or India.
Yeah.
That's not particularly convenient either. That
And
doesn't exactly help their
it doesn't
domestic
help their
setup
fans
in
either. Exactly.
Afghanistan or the fans.
Yeah.
It really doesn't.
Yeah.
So they need to find a way that makes it actually rewarding and worth it for them. With Ireland, they can maybe work something out where they are geographically located next to England and with all the advantages they do get compared to Afghanistan. With
Right.
Afghanistan, the situation is much more sensitive. And I don't want to say that ICC haven't done well enough with them already. BCCI
Hmm.
has supported them a lot. Props to them.
Yeah.
Props to them for those things. But
Yeah.
if you want them to be a test playing nation, you have to give them that respect and you have to help them out here. Otherwise, you can't just be handing out these test playing statuses for fun. We've seen the worst side of that, haven't we?
No, 100%. And a big part of what they do is they say, oh, if you do well in three ICC tournaments in a row, I think, or if you qualify for three ICC tournaments in a row, you're eligible for full member status. And two of those can be a T20 World Cup, and then one of them has to be an ODI World Cup, I think. That might be the stipulation there. So, Sagar, just to round off Afghanistan, um, Afghanistan's bowling. You mentioned Naveed Zadran. Thoughts on Naveed Zadran, the bowler, and how he did. I think, yeah, it was his debut Test match. So, 4 wickets there in that first innings for him. I think 4 for 83. Got the wickets of Samara Wikrama, Chandimal, and then Nishan Madushka. So yeah,
I think very intriguing thing happened. Like very might be a bit funny as well. One of
yeah,
the bowlers, I think Mohammad Salim, he was bowling when Matthews and Chandimal had this big partnership. I think 200 plus run partnership, and both were on hundreds. And
yeah,
Salim bowled a couple of deliveries, and he pulled his hamstring or something.
yeah.
So he had to go off the field, and the ball was given to Zadran. The first ball he bowls, he gets Chandimal caught behind to the keeper. And the second ball he bowls,
Yeah,
Dhanjay De Silva, he pushes it to mid off,
yeah.
runs. Matthews ball watches, doesn't respond to Dhanjay's call, and Shahidi dives and throws down the stumps. And then there's 2 wickets in 2 balls. Whereas the previous 80 overs, there were no wickets. So, I thought this.
Funny game cricket.
Yeah.
Fun.
This
Yeah,
guy, Naveed Zadran, I think he has what it takes to stay at the top level for a long time and serve his nation because he's very young.
yeah,
And that's not Rashid Khan young. He looks very young
yeah,
according to his age. It looks
Yeah.
proper.
yeah,
And then he bowls some good lines and lengths and also has good pace. And he bowls a mean bouncer as well. So I think with time he'll only improve. But he looks a solid fine. He's very different to the ones they already have in the white ball setup, like Fazal Faruqi, who is more of a swing bowler,
yeah,
and then Naveen ul Haq, more of a cutter bowler, like Mustafiz type bowler. No real pace, like not the 140s you want in your team. I
right.
think Naveen can fill that gap. Like previously they had Daulat Zadran and then Hamid Hassan. I
Yeah,
think Naveen is that sort of a bowler.
yeah. I mean, he's still 18, which is crazy. Interesting that he's making his debut already, but I mean, yeah, they see something in him, and like you mentioned, there is an interesting bit there with him. Um, Case Ahmed, very expensive.
The way you
And
say it.
very expensive, and he just does not look like they tried working with Noor Ahmed for a bit in ODI Test cricket, but the way it is now, Noor Ahmed's in demand everywhere around the world. Mujib obviously is not playing tests. Rashid Khan's injured. Um so they have gone back to KS Ahmed. But yeah, I mean, Rakimullah or Shagor, one of you. Thoughts on KS Ahmed, the bowler, and him in BBL or somewhere else is like one bowler, and him here is like a whole different bowler. And that
I
ball
mean,
to
it was
get
just wasn't that
Matthews,
entire BBL success all about the Australian local players being poor against spin?
yeah,
That was
yeah,
pretty much
yeah.
it.
Wow.
And he knew how to make do with that in T20 cricket. We actually, credits to him, we actually saw glimpses of that in the earliest season of the LPL as well,
Yeah,
which would have also motivated their selection for this tour. But again, Test cricket is a completely different ball game, even from first class cricket. You guys were mentioning his good first class stats. I think
yeah.
Zahir Khan
Oh,
was the
Zahir
one they
Khan
tried
was,
in
yeah,
Bangladesh as well.
yeah,
This is just not working. These second string spinners for Afghanistan, they are not coming through,
There's
even
one
though
as
they've
well,
had their
another
fair share of
franchise one,
hit.
Waqar Salam Khill, the
Wakar
left arm
Salam
leg
Kid.
spinner.
Yeah, yeah,
Same
yeah.
line.
Hamza Hotak, they
Hamza
kept
Udak
trying new
is
guys.
a finger spinner, so they have got
He
Ziaur
finger
Rahman.
spinner.
But you
Yeah,
know the one Waqar
yeah,
Salam
yeah.
Khill
Wakar
actually
Salam Kid leggy. Yeah,
ILT
left.
20.
Yeah, ILT 20. Okay, that's where he is. Yeah, yeah. So, uh, yeah. I mean, it's just kind of disappointing because they do have the what's it
Talent.
called talent. Yeah, but a lot of these guys don't know. Like, in if Prabhat Jayasuri is getting 8 wickets in the Test match as a finger spinner, how are you as a wrist spinner not getting any purchase out of it? And to me, it looked like he was trying to bowl so quick for some reason. Even that ball that he got Matthews hit wicket for, it was like on a different planet. The ball
That
was
might
going
have
somewhere.
been four wides if Matthews
Four
left it.
wide, exactly. If Matthews left it, it would have been four wides. That's how bad it was. And yeah, it's so there are some gaps there for Afghanistan to take a look at, and it doesn't help them that a lot of their guys aren't available for Test cricket, unfortunately, because of the situations that they face. Moving to Sri Lanka, Angelo Mathews keeps on scoring runs and gets hit wicket. Rakimo, how
I
thoughts
mean,
on
with
Mathews' innings and Chandimal's, I guess, as a whole?
both veterans of the game, and in fairness, Matthews is basically a Test legend by most regards. In Tests,
Yeah,
he doesn't bowl as much; it's all his batting. And he's made it work. He's made it work for decades now. We can joke about the timeout. We can joke about the silly ways he keeps getting out, which can happen in this Test match. But he is a very accomplished cricketer. We cannot take that
yeah,
away. I just wish things went differently for him because reputation matters a lot. And
yeah.
even when he scores these 140 odd runs, it's all about how he got out and the, everything else about Matthews rather than
Everything.
his on-field success or on-field activities. With Chandimal, I think it's sort of I don't remember. Did he play the last series for Sri Lanka? I gotta check. The last
Might
series
have.
was against Pakistan. It
We'll
was it
check.
was a while ago, so I don't remember. It was like back in July,
Yeah.
and
But yeah, they
I
weren't
don't
picking
remember
him for some time. Yeah, you're like
sometime.
yeah, yeah.
So
But
it's a
I
good
don't know
comeback for him.
why they were not. But yeah, he has always been
And
a
if
dependable
not,
Yeah.
like
scorer.
if
No,
the
no.
idea
He
is that
played. He played the
he played,
series versus Pakistan.
oh, that makes
One
sense.
got a 128, 34, and one. So similar to what his career's been all about, just middling scores here and there, and then all of a sudden gets a massive score
Massive
and
score.
keeps his average up over 40.
I mean, not to say that he's a bully or something, but he's got a
Yeah.
lot of those against Bangladesh as well. So
Yeah,
yeah,
15
he
test
knows his
hundreds.
opponent.
15 test hundreds? That's crazy.
Mhm. He has a good record against India, so that's worth
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
But overall, again, he's a veteran of the game, accomplished cricketer. He's just not been as consistent, unfortunately. And hope he'll use this as confidence booster rather than an excuse to just stay relevant and stay in the team.
He's got like 4 centuries against Bangladesh. I think five. Five
Really?
of his 15. So one third of his centuries are actually against Bangladesh, which
Oh,
is
Lord.
mental. Shagor, is Prabhat Joyasuri the best left-arm spinner in Test cricket right now? Is Ravindra Jadeja at second? And is Aksar Patel at third?
You
He's
put me in a
respecting
spot.
Taichul for no reason.
And is Shakib Al Hasan and Taijul Islam not even in the
I think,
conversation?
no, to be fair to everyone here, all are good spinners that you mentioned, but
Yeah,
most of them have very good home records, especially Prabhat Jasuria.
yeah,
I saw his first class stats, very, very good. His
yeah,
test stats in Sri Lanka, very good.
yeah,
But I'd be willing to see him, like how he performs in Sena countries. And Jadeja, he has been doing it for a long, long time. And wherever he plays, if not taking wickets, he keeps the scoring at a check, right? He
yeah,
gives over 2 or 3 runs
yeah,
an over.
yeah.
So I think for me, still Jadeja is the leading left arm spinner, even though I'm not a big fan of the team in general. Individual wise, Jadeja and a gun fielder as well. So,
Our comment section will be popping again. These guys just keep
and they'll
coming
say
up.
that
Yeah,
there'll be roars about hanging me. Who is this guy?
yeah. Who's this guy? Yeah, hang. But
No, but
no,
his
I think
Jaisalmer is good.
yeah,
Yeah, he's
yeah,
becoming one of the leading spinners in world cricket, and I think he'll do well in Sena countries as well because in this pitch it was not that spinning pitch as you expect in Sri Lanka.
yeah,
Like it was not spinning sharp, nothing was happening. It was a pretty good wicket to bat on, as Sri Lanka showed in the fourth innings when they were smacking around.
yeah.
So that also he had patience, he toiled when the partnership was going on, and then he got one through Ibrahim Zadran to dismiss him. He turned and bounced some, but he had a lot of patience and he kept bowling in the channel. So that's what I admire about him, that he, grinds it out. And then he got the rewards with the newer middle order and the tail enders.
So since his debut, he's played 8 Test matches at home, 15 innings, 63 wickets, and at an economy of 2.89, and that includes 7 5-wicket hauls and 2 10-wicket hauls across like a Test match.
Crazy
Um,
stats.
Crazy stats, like crazy stats, and I think one of his most what's it called, skillful weapon is his accuracy. I think he just knows, like, you know when in Australia they're talking about their big three quicks and their ability to land it on an handkerchief length, and that keep prodding the batsman forward, forward, forward. So keep bringing these guys forward, and all of a sudden you get that edge. I think Jasuria does that really well, where he keeps people interested. Every ball, it's like the batter is interested in something, and it almost makes it look like that there will be something happening at the end of the day. So, Rakimul, just to finish off with Sri Lanka, Asita Fernando, Vishwa Fernando, both have been around for a while. They've seemed to becoming Sri Lanka's leading pacers now in longer form cricket slowly. Thoughts on their performance in this Test match?
Like we said, it's not the strongest opponent to judge them
Yeah,
by, but they've been around for a good part of a year and a half since the last World Test Championship cycle, basically. And Sri Lanka performed fairly well in the last cycle.
yeah.
So keeping all that in mind, I just
They
hope
were
that they
almost a
stick to these
chance
guys.
to go to the final, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Solid chance, especially with that New Zealand series at the end.
yeah,
So we can only hope that they stick to these guys because Sri Lanka have been doing a lot of chopping and changing, a lot of rotation in terms of their selections. Just
yeah,
hoping that, they back these guys for a while because it's not easy to be pacers in the subcontinent. It's not always rewarding. We've
yeah.
seen that with our pacers as well. So we can only hope that, they keep backing them because they'll be coming to Bangladesh soon. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Talking about coming to Bangladesh, let's get into that under 19 World Cup. Where should we begin? Should we start
The
into
fact that it's not coming to Bangladesh
the fact
like
that
it
it
did
is
4 years
not?
ago.
Yes, yes. Unfortunately, we were 5 runs short in that semi-final, not semi-final, last group game in Super 8.
And it hurts more. It hurts more when you see India being 20 or 30 for
30
four,
for 4.
chasing 250 odd against the home nation.
Yes, yes. First things first, under 19 World Cup. We'll discuss Bangladesh's campaign, but there's one player I really want to discuss, Kuina Mapaka. Shagor.
Mafaka. Yes, my boy, Mafaka.
Your boy.
Remember
Please.
the name, guys. Remember the name. For the next few years in the world, in any format, this guy will dominate. This will not be KG Rabada 2. This will be Mafaka 1.
One.
Remember the name.
Yeah.
Just look, just this guy, man. He doesn't look like an under 19 bowler. He looks like he's been in the setup for such a long time. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to set up a batsman. He bowls a mean bouncer, a snorter. He swings the ball. He has very high pace. Everything good. Just maybe a bit high on the extra side. He bowls a lot of wides while trying for those in-deepers or bouncers. But other than that, I think very good future.
So one thing I really liked was how he's able to bowl consistently from both sides of the wicket, and he keeps like the wickets in play every delivery. Every delivery, the wickets are in play, whether he's bowling over the wicket or whether he's bowling around the wicket. And sometimes he'll set up guys from over the wicket and then come around the wicket and then get the wicket, which is, I mean, exceptional, because some guys that play cricket for 20 years and can't master the ability to do that. So because we're talking about bowlers, first thing first for Bangladesh, pace attack, Maruf Mridha, Borshan looked really good. I guess you guys would agree. Rakimo, I guess, yeah, just insight into that Bangladesh pace attack this year at the Under 19 World Cup.
Ian Bishop already called it the best bowling attack Bangladesh has had at the under 19 level, which is saying a lot because Bangladesh have had
and Iqbal Hossain Imon. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
At the under 19 level. So overall, it was great. It's particularly with Borshan, he got dropped for one of the games in between. I think it was the one against the US.
Yeah.
But to come back the way he did and to perform the way he did, it was exceptional, particularly in the 2 matches against Nepal and Pakistan. Against Pakistan, with the bat, he showed that he has the ability to sort of carry on the tail and make it last longer. Everything was looking great except Bangladesh fell 5 runs short. A tale far too familiar in Bangladesh cricket. Overall, we can only hope that these young bowlers are nurtured better into the system, and we can also hope that they're never seen at the under 19 level ever again.
Yes. Oh my God. 100%. I better not see these guys playing a World Cup in 2 years' time, because I'm going to be pissed off. And we need to stop doing this where we play like they did it with Ariful.
22-year-olds.
Yeah, no, it's not even that. Like, I'm not even gonna get into the age fudging issue. Like, the thing is, some guys, after they play that one World Cup, they've done their time, right? Like, there was no reason for Ariful to be playing this World Cup. Absolutely no reason. He's already played List A cricket. He's almost there and thereabouts in playing first-class cricket. They make him like this poster boy for under 19 cricket. They make him play every U18 game. And then they send him, like they did this with Tanzim Saqib and Rakibul and derailed them for about 2 years. And then
still hasn't recovered, by the way.
Rakibul still hasn't recovered because of that. Because all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he went from playing Bangabandhu T20 to playing under 19 World Cup. It just doesn't translate, because you have to, like, the skills needed to play at under 19 World Cup and skills needed to play professional cricket are very different. And I'm just gonna do a small relation because a lot of people in like English setup talked about how Shoaib Bashir was almost way too mature to be playing age group cricket at a time when people were bowling at like 70 kilometers per hour, 75 kilometers per hour, and he was bowling at like 92, 88, 87. And all of these guys are like missing the ball. It's not hitting the stump. He's not getting wickets. He looks like, who's this guy that's just bowling quick? But unfortunately for him, he's tall. He's gotten big already. His action is allowing him to bowl that quick. But he's not getting that success that he wants because a lot of these guys are just scared to play him simply. They're just like leaving balls like, yo, I don't want to play this 90 kilometer per hour spinner. I have no interest. You get that same thing. But I think, yeah, like Rakimal mentioned, a lot of these guys, this is the time you take them into shadow squads, you take them into A team, you take them into that domestic setup and you start nurturing them. The moment India started doing this, the moment India started capping it at one World Cup per player, look at where their cricket's come in the last 8 years. Kumar Kushagra played one World Cup, played one game at one World Cup. A lot of people made an issue about it after. It's like, he only played one game. Why are you not allowing him the next World Cup? He's only 16. What is this? Well, now he's playing for India A because he played for Jharkhand for like last 4 years in under 23 in Kuch Bihar Trophy, this, that, right? So
now he played in India A game as well against
he
England.
plays the India exactly England Lions. So that's how you mature guys. That's how you develop these guys. So let's talk about that Bangladesh-Pakistan game, the last game, especially. Going into that game, we knew we had to win it. Obviously, there were some situations and stipulations in place that, if they bat second, they have to win by 50 or more runs. If they bat first, if they bat first, they have to win by 50 or more runs. If they bat second, they have to chase it in within 39 overs or something. So, Shagor, where did it all go wrong in that match? What's one moment you would say?
I'm not actually sure what one moment went wrong, but I think it's just the overall, generic reason that Bangladesh, being Bangladeshi players, we are afraid to chase, even if it's a low total. Even though that was not a low total that we could have restricted them to. The last wickets put up a resistance for Pakistan. But I think the batsmen were like two-faced. Like some batsmen were very much into their shell, trying to protect their wickets.
Yeah.
Especially, I don't know what happened to Shivli. In the Asia Cup, such a free-flowing batsman, solid batsman. In the World Cup, similar bowlers, same bowlers, Pakistan team, right? They played.
Yeah.
It's like he could not time any ball.
No.
He was laboring through every innings that I saw.
As soon as he came into bat, I was like, he's one ball away from getting out.
Yeah, he never looked comfortable throughout the World Cup. There was not an innings that was very fluent like the Asia Cup ones.
Yeah.
I think when you don't have fluent innings in the top of the order, it creates pressure naturally down the order. But then again, we have experienced guys like Ariful, and then we have Shihab James, who was doing well, and then Ahar Pian. I think it's a collective failure and not realizing that the way they play, they could have easily chased it down within 38, 39 overs. Nothing was extraordinary was needed.
Yeah.
But I think credit has to be given to the Pakistani bowlers, especially Ubaid Shah, the way he was probing around the off stick. It was difficult to bat against him, but then the patience was not there in our batters. I think that was the key factor, that they were not ready to leave balls that shouldn't have been played. They were trying to fish at it, and then and too many edges to the keeper. I think five. So that was a bit disappointing.
Yeah, and Pakistan fielded really well. They kept their fielders, yeah, like Ariful's shot, it's not there for a cut shot, and it's a very difficult catch, and Shamail Hussain makes it happen. But yeah, I mean, still, we expected them to go to the semifinals. It didn't happen. Rakimul, just to round out the Under 19 World Cup, you know, unfortunately, no semifinals. A lot of these guys will move on. This is where a lot of people get lost. This is where a lot of players will get lost. A lot of guys don't know what they're going to do with the next phase of their career. We've seen a lot of good players. Parvez Jibon, I think, highest wicket taker for Bangladesh. Um, Borshon, Maruf Mridha, Iqbal Hossain Imon. You got RRPan, Shibli, all of these guys. Chaudhry Mohammad Rizwan was very underwhelming, I would say, throughout the tournament. Unfortunately, just never looked like he got going, and he batted 3 the whole tournament. Think about Mahmudullah Sanjoy or Tohid Ridoy a few years ago. That number 3 made a lot of difference. So where to for some of these guys that really have caught an eye, and how do they stay, I guess, relevant in
The
such a
question
big
becomes,
market?
can we use first division cricket to build them up better for first class cricket? Because a lot of them will not walk into first class sides as things stand right now.
No. Yeah,
So that
100%.
becomes a question of whether we can actually use first division cricket properly. Because in the past, we've seen that first division cricket often doesn't want to let go of players once they
Yeah,
come into the system. We saw
yeah.
something similar with Avishek Das, but was that second division for him?
That's the second division. Yeah,
Second division for him, right?
yeah,
So again, we have to build a system that allows them to properly transition into first class cricket and actually make it count.
yeah,
As you said, it's a very difficult stage for our standard of cricket. With England, with Australia, it's much easier because they don't prioritize age group cricket as much as we do. For us, it
yes,
sort of becomes a be all end all. Like, okay, how
yeah,
was his performance? Like when a player is getting selected in the national team, it's still asked today that how was his performance? How successful was his overall squad in the
yes,
under 19 World Cup that he played?
yes,
Like
yeah.
which isn't
That's
really
the
the only
basis.
metric.
Yeah,
That doesn't really make
yeah,
any sense because that's not supposed to be the only metric that you judge a player on. Like
yeah.
if they were successful at the under 19 level, great, but I need them to perform at a higher level. I need them to perform at
Correct.
list A, at first class, at the BPL. At those leagues, at those standards are failing us. That's the problem
Yeah,
because we can't trust our first class system. We can't trust list A. We can't trust BPL that's going on right now.
yeah,
So overall, we need a better system, and I think for now we have a lot of players already in our domestic pool. So maybe it's best to ease them through it all through the first division rankings, and maybe Ariful is one player who just has to play first class cricket right now.
yeah. hundred
There's no
percent,
option.
hundred
You have
percent.
to play him in first
Yeah,
class cricket. You have to play him in list A cricket, and more importantly, get him into the A team squads, the shadow team, whatever you want to call it now, name it
yeah.
whatever.
Just get him
Just
in every
get him in.
situation. Australia's talking about playing Fraser-McGurk in all formats, and he averages 22 in first class cricket. You have to start letting your youngsters play cricket. They're not
I,
gonna
I would
learn
say
by
I'd
playing
say
in
do the
nets
same
and
with
stuff, right? Yeah,
Borshon and
yeah,
with the interesting cases with Rabbi. What do you guys think about Rabbi? Because Rabbi was a very good captain. We didn't get to see a lot of him as a batter or a bowler, but he has
yeah,
that capability. We've seen that.
yeah,
We've seen
yeah,
glimpses of that. So, what are your guys' thoughts on that?
Not ready for the listing or first class as of now, because like I think to for any of these players to get into a team or stay there, they have to have a primary role which they're very good at. Like Borshon is very good in swinging the ball, or he's a very good bowler. Then Rizwan, for example, or Ariful, they're very good batsmen. But she, like, not she have Rabbi, sorry.
yeah,
Rabbi, as you said, we haven't seen much of his batting or bowling that he has, awestruck us. Like, oh,
yeah,
what a spell! Oh, what a good 50. I
yeah,
don't think there was a moment like that, but his leadership qualities were very good. But for sure, he's not gonna walk into a side because of his leadership. So I think there, as you said, Rakimu, there needs to be a better system put in place, or
there's
first
only space
division.
for one Akbar Ali.
Yeah,
Mm.
first division it is.
No, I mean, just to short and I guess finish off this topic, I think Rakimo mentioned a really good point that there's so many clubs in first division cricket. There's so many teams that are looking to get promoted to premier division cricket in first division cricket. And those top 4 or 5 teams need to have these guys as their core players, give them that responsibility, have that really good season in 2024, 2025. They have that good season in 2024, 2025. They'll walk into a team easily in 2025 Premier Division cricket. It's gonna be that simple. Once they build that, it's just gonna happen. Ariful walked into Mohammedan squad like it was nothing, right? So that's where we're gonna start developing some of these guys. So talking about developing players, England obviously developing their spinners on an international tour. Um, we'll jump into the England versus India Test series. India won by 106 runs. To all
I'm
our
just gonna chime
yeah,
in and say it's still better to develop these players rather than forcing Moeen Ali out of retirement every
oh,
5 years.
100%. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. But look at how Tom Hartley's playing. You would not have known this unless you actually gave him that opportunity. He scored more runs than some of the top order batters, right? At this point. Um, but yeah, India won by 106 runs. To all our Indian fans, congratulations. You obviously, but you know, roasting still has to happen. Where roasting has to happen. First thing first, Joe Root was bowling bouncers to Shreyas Iyer. Probably the funniest thing I've seen in my life. Almost everyone knows that he has a short ball problem now. But boys, Bazball had one thing that they needed to do was chase 332 in that last day. First thing that we have to discuss is that LBW that Zach Crawley got. Was that actually him? Was that impact actually where the impact was? Someone
This is
please tell me.
100% Shagor's department.
Sagar, umpire, please tell me. How is that out?
I think it most likely should have been umpire's call and should have remained not out as was on-field call. But then again, if we speak about these things, maybe this channel will be taken down. Who knows? there are
That's
greater,
okay.
no,
That's okay.
I'm saying there are greater forces at work than we know. There are bigger boys, bigger fishes to fry in the ocean.
Yeah,
But yeah, to be serious, I think yeah, as everyone was saying, it at max it would have been clipping.
yeah,
So umpire's call, but no way that's sitting flush on.
yeah. No, I
You can
mean,
literally see half of leg stump when it actually impacted him.
exactly,
This is so
exactly. And
absurd.
it's just like on first replay, I actually thought impact was outside too. So for impact to be in line, I was like, what? Because I thought at least it was umpire's call or missing, right? But um, I think we'll start with the first innings. India, first inning, second innings in together. India just seems to have a batting problem right now. But Yashasvi Jaiswal Rakimul, double hundred, 171 in West Indies, double hundred now. Thoughts on that? Mammoth knock, and I mean, without his double hundred, they were nowhere in that innings.
Absolutely incredible. And his is a story that you want to recollect, you want to share with everyone again and again because he's had such an inspiring story. And well, his success is turning out to live up to that story's reputation.
Yeah,
We were looking forward to him playing this series because this was obviously going to be his first series at home, and he really made it count. First day, you know that first day is always in the subcontinent. First day is always the easiest time to get to bat.
yeah,
The conditions are going to start turning a lot more. Even with the conditions being on his favor, he was incredible, absolutely incredible to watch. Proper stroke play. He wasn't going into a shell. We know that he can be a little vulnerable outside off stump, which a lot of left-handers can be from time to time.
yeah,
But he wasn't really challenged because there was just one pacer. the veteran Jimmy Anderson. And every
Anderson.
time he got it a bit wrong, that's it, he was punished. Other than that, the spinners didn't really challenge him all that much. Maybe England missed a trick by not picking an extra pacer, maybe. Uh,
Yeah,
just or should have held up, should have waited to include Bashir instead of just rushing him in just as soon as he was available for selection.
yeah,
But having said all of that, incredible, absolutely incredible innings.
yeah. I mean, besides him, no one even crossed 50 in that first innings.
25.
35, 35, sorry, 35. I mean, no one else got into 50s. Um, Shubman Gill, very lucky in that second innings. LBW for his ball, and then overturned, and he didn't even know he inside edged it. Next over, Jimmy Anderson gets one where it's umpire's call, and then after that, pretty much a chanceless innings, gets 100. Shagor, without that 100, just like that first innings where some youngster carried them, this time another young player had to carry them. Thoughts on that Shubman Gill innings?
Yeah, I think I think Kevin Peterson it was who said give Suman Gill some time because he's still in his first few test matches. Even the great players took some time to settle into their roles. I'm a bit skeptical about Gill in particular playing in test matches because there's so much competition in the Indian team, the players coming in, that if you fail for a prolonged period of time,
Hmm.
in all honesty, you should not be backed,
Yeah,
according to me, because another guy, Rajat Patidar,
yeah,
grinding it out in the domestic scene.
yeah,
Sarfaraz Khan scoring centuries for fun. These
yeah.
guys are sitting on the sidelines.
Hashtag give my boy a chance.
Yeah. And then if someone like Shubman Gill continues failing in like multiple series, at
Yeah,
least the other guys should be tried. And then if they fail, then Gill can come back on the basis of his performances.
yeah.
But yeah, apart from that 100, Gill's position was very much in doubt, in this series. Like he
And
had to get a
given
big score.
Yeah, yeah, and given he's batting at three, and there's an imminent comeback there for Virat Kohli on the third test. If it happens or it doesn't happen, that's still up in the air. But yeah, there was a lot and riding on this test match for
But
him.
Shakwa, isn't that also an inherent thing in Indian cricket right now? It's a very open thing where they have some favorites. I'm not saying the favorites are because of any off-field reasons necessarily, but they have these favorites and they keep backing these favorites to eventually get performances out of them. I'm sure they're trying to do the same with uh, Shreyas Iyer right now as well.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I think it's a subcontinent thing. Like even in Bangladesh or even Pakistan, there's this favoritism thing going on that like let's back this player till he scores runs, and when he gets a century, okay, we'll pick him for the next 10 games for sure.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
something
yeah,
like that, yeah. But yeah, I think Shubman Gill has got a lot of talent. That's why they're backing him. Maybe Tendulkar has something to do with it. We'll never know.
Shreyas Iyer and Rohit Sharma, both of them seem to be having a little bit of an up and down kind of a time. How long do you persist with Shreyas Iyer, given that he's batting at such an important position at number four? And if KL Rahul comes back third test here, um, do you give Rajat Patidar a bit of a longer rope and you ask Shreyas to step away, Rakimo?
I mean, I might as well. The young guy, he just got one test, Rajat Patidar. You want to
Yeah,
give him another go. And
yeah,
Rajat Patidar himself is an interesting story. He was always a bowler. He went from being a pacer to a spinner after an injury, and now he's a batter. The way
yeah,
things are going with him, you'd want to test him out a bit more. So,
yeah.
in a weird way, the selectors, I don't think, I'm not saying they would literally do this, but they may just be hoping that. What do you say, KL Rahul and Virat Kohli remain unavailable for the
Hmm.
third test so that they have a more substantial amount of time and data to judge the two cricketers right now, whether you want to go with the seasoned Shreyas Iyer or you want to go with the young Rajat Patidar, because there is almost no way they're bringing Sarfaraz in now after they won a test match,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah. No, and I think I don't know how conditions are going to be in the third test, but given that it's in Ahmedabad, I think maybe.
Third test,
Uh,
no,
no, no,
third
no. Third
test is
test
not.
is in no. Third test is not in Ahmedabad. Let me quickly
Quickly
check.
check.
Rajkot,
It's
Rajkot.
Rajkot, I guess.
Rajkot, Rajkot. Okay, so um, yeah, I would probably give Shreyas Iyer a rest at this point. You have to, and if Virat Kohli is back, I think Shreyas and Patidar both might be out at that point. Um, but going into England, coming off that first test win, like we talked about last week, they won that first test in 2021 series too, and then it just fell off after that point. Um, Not a similar fall because chasing 400 in India in the fourth innings is never easy, but besides Zach Crawley, no one really got going throughout the whole Test match. And Tom Hartley got some runs, Ben Foakes got some runs at the end there, but overall they just didn't replicate the same returns from the first test. Is that right? Is that a fair assumption, Shagar?
Yeah, I think the
And
first was
touch upon Joe Root's
shenanigans.
shenanigans, throwing his wicket away. Like I have no idea.
In the first test, the pitch was spinning a lot,
Yeah,
but in the second test, especially in the first innings of both teams, the ball was not spinning that much. Like
yeah,
it was spinning, but not as sharply. So the first innings is where both teams should have cashed in big time, which England, of course, missed. And
yeah.
I think especially in the second innings, the batter did not trust their defense at all. It's not like it was spinning square, turning
No,
square like in the fourth day or something. But
yeah,
Joe Root being a responsible, like should have been more responsible, being an experienced batsman. He has scored a ton of runs in India. I think he's the fifth highest run scorer
well,
in
he's one of the reasons why they changed their pitches completely from what it was before. So
Yeah, so he should have trusted his technique and he could have gotten a lot of runs. But it's not the first time Jorud has done this. I remember a couple of instances in, I don't know which country, maybe in England. He was trying to reverse lap a pace bowler and then got bowled. Maybe it was in the Ashes.
yeah.
So, but for the past few years, something has gotten into Jorud's mind that he has to play Joe Ball or something. Even
Yeah,
though he
16
can do
of 10 and then top edged
yeah,
it to Akshar Patel at, I don't even
yeah.
know, like half point, halfway through 30 yards. And
It's a very
Shreyas
good point
Iyer caught
because
that catch, I think.
the whole idea of baseball is it was introduced because no one other than Joe Root was getting runs. All these
yeah,
players, the Crawley, we're talking Duckett making that comeback into the test side, Pope was consistently failing. These
yeah,
guys are the reason they had to introduce baseball, not Joe Root. Joe Root did not have to go out of his way to completely change his game.
no.
Just, I
And
mean, he's trying to show versatility, but this is not it.
One of the things McCullum said when he came on was Joe actually doesn't need to change his game a lot. We just need him to score positively and quickly because whatever he's doing now is completely fine. He just needs to be a little more positive. That's what they wanted. And he's taken positivity into reverse running down to Ashwin against the spin. Not even against the spin, against the drift, right? Because Ashwin, the one he got Joe Root out with, it just drifted away and he just top edged it to like an imaginary 30-yard circle where it would.
Ashwin around the wicket is always about the drift, it's not about the turn
Yeah,
anymore.
it's not about the turn anymore. 100%, 100%. And he's just trying to get people to play across the line at that point. Just trying to get that top edge into play. Um, Shagor, you laughing? What's on your mind?
I was just thinking about a meme you're talking about Ashwin. That Ashwin was on 499 wickets,
Oh
and
yeah,
then Mukesh Kumar got in. The whole match he did nothing. The last
Of
wicket,
all the players, Mukesh Kumar, and no disrespect to the man, but I mean, come on.
and the look at Ashwin's face like this. What have you done? You just ate away my 500th wicket.
500 wicket. Yeah. Um, no.
Uh, if you look at the top seven of
Yeah.
England's lineup, I think Joe Root and Ben Foakes are the only ones who should and who can bat in a test tempo. Like test tempo, as in they can anchor the innings. They should anchor
Yeah.
the innings.
Yeah.
They should help the other guys. Do some fireworks. Crawley, Duckett, Pope,
Yeah.
you name it, Stokes, everyone goes for the hits, right? Like
Yeah.
they don't care. So it's very important for Root and folks to play their own roles in their own way
Yeah.
so that it doesn't collapse, it doesn't become, boom.
Just
So
quick question on
yeah.
that. Johnny Bairstow, is his time running out? It's unfortunate. They are backing him a lot because he's the one who got Bazball running off the ground back in 2022. But is his time running out now?
Hashtag bring in Dan Lawrence. I think
Is there a ready-made person on the wings? I know there are some players like Lawrence, but do you think anyone is banging down the door
well,
for
I mean,
England?
if Brook comes back,
if Harry Brook
that's it.
comes back, exactly, that's one option there. I think in terms of England Lions, if you wanted to play someone like a Jamie Smith, who doesn't who keeps wickets, but if you want to play him as a specialist batter, that option's there. Josh Bohannon, but he's a number three. So unfortunately, I think it's between Brook and Lawrence for now, depending on who is more successful at that
People
position.
fit the baseball roles that the management wants. Other
Yeah,
batsmen,
and I mean, left field call Will Jacks, maybe.
not
Not
as
even too
well.
left field if you think about it.
Yeah, not too left field, exactly. Like he will
There's
blend
nothing to
into
left
this
field
team
for baseball.
as well.
Harry
uh,
Brook is basically an auto choice for still, but if he's not available, then these are all the options they can definitely
yeah,
try.
yeah. So, but I think to answer your question, I feel like you can only give someone so many chances, and if Johnny's not getting dropped, then people will start asking question, why did Alex Lees get dropped so quickly in this setup? So once you have to start justifying picking people, it doesn't make your job as a coach or as a selector, as a captain, easy, because then that means there are a lot of more fingers on you than there used to be previously. So I think we talked about funny enough, we talked about before the first test that uh, depending on how Anderson does in the first two tests, he might be done for the series after that. Well, it seems like Johnny Bairstow's in that bucket now after two very middling test matches. Whereas, thoughts on Anderson, Rakimul? Um, 3 wickets in that first innings. Um, how many in the second? I think two in the second. Yeah, two in the second. But thoughts on Anderson? And, comes back and looks like he never left.
What is there left to say about Jimmy Anderson? Everything that can be said, everything that needs to be said has already been said and more. I mean, there isn't much to add except the veteran will keep performing the way he is. I won't be surprised if some other members of this English squad end up retiring before him because the way he's continuing, it's just
Well, Shoaib
he
Bashir
won't
and
stop.
Rayan Ahmed weren't even playing, weren't even
Weren't even born, I
born.
think. Rehan wasn't born.
When Rayan was when he made his test debut,
No,
which
I
is
think both weren't born.
yeah, both weren't born when he made his test debut. Thank you, Alvi Islam, for showing up today, an hour late, which is
An hour and a half.
super on brand for him.
Better late than never.
I don't know. We were contemplating just finishing this
That
up
is, that
because
is Sarfraz Khan's test debut,
oh
basically.
yes, yes. Tell me about it.
Probably
Um,
not. It won't even happen in this lifetime.
Shagor, thoughts on England's three spinners, Shoaib Bashir, obviously bowled 38 overs in that first innings. Uh, how do you see him? And then Tom Hartley and Ren Ahmed too.
I think Rehan is the easiest call to say that he is like he didn't perform as expected. He was very inconsistent. As much as I'd love him to see in the team, he hasn't performed as much as the other two have. Tom Hartley, after getting spanked, in,
After getting spanked.
Lack of a
I
better word.
yeah, after getting smacked around in the first test,
First
he
innings,
first
first
innings of
innings
the
of
first
the
test, and then he came back very well. Even in the second test, it showed that he had learned from the first test and he performed much much better.
yeah,
Also, Shoaib Bashir, after traveling the whole
all the
world
visa issue.
twice,
Yeah,
after he traveled the whole world twice or something, and
yeah,
then he comes and he performs. He gets the big wicket of Rohit Sharma,
yeah,
and then he doesn't give away too many runs, and he keeps the batsman in check. I think Bashir has a lot of talent, so Bashir should be in for a long career if he's bowling line to line the way he's doing. But Tom Hartley, for me, especially given his role as a batsman,
yeah,
when the other wickets were falling down, he held his own, even when
yeah.
the established batsman was
And
gone.
in the first test too, he looked like he
Yeah,
belonged completely.
he wasn't phased at all. He was playing out Bumrah, he was playing out Ashwin, and yeah. So I think Hartley for me would be number one. Second would be Bashir, and third would be Rehan Ahmed. So
Yeah,
if they had to drop a spinner for the third test, it's an easy call.
I think yeah, 100%. And um, what I really liked is England's calls that they have made. We know that Shoaib Bashir was picked after Ben Stokes saw a video on Twitter and sent it to
Sort of like
Rocky.
Khawaja Nafe for the BPL of social media.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
Here comes Salvi about relating everything to Bangladesh cricket.
freaking guy, bro.
I'm surprised Ratanwal did not say anything this time. He's like, I'm done.
Leaving it
I'm
slide
done.
for once.
But no, I feel like some of these players that they have picked on, gut feeling is actually turning out how they described it when they picked these guys. Bashir, you could see straight away as soon as he came on, that pace he was bowling at was making both Rohit Sharma and them uncomfortable. It was like very unique, especially in these conditions, and he was getting turned at that pace. Rohit Sharma inside half of the bat, leg slip, gone. Um, Funny enough, before he even played, we made some posts because obviously it's never nice that a kid is coming in to play his first test series and he has to travel the world like twice before he actually gets to play. And so many people on our page were commenting, oh, what you guys are trying to um, gas this kid up, you're just trying to like make Shoaib Bashir look like all this that comes in, Rohit Sharma gone. I was like so happy when he got that because all these guys that were commenting just shut up right after that because they just did not say anything. So I think to finish off, Alvi, India's bowling. Obviously, no Jadeja this test match, but Akshar Patel still there. Ravi Ashwin doing his thing. Ashwin got how many? I think Ashwin
I
got
think he got
three,
three.
three in the
Yeah,
first innings, and then three in the second
he got
innings,
three in
and
the
then
second. Yeah,
nothing in the first innings. Yeah, and then
and
uh,
Kuldeep got three in the first.
yeah. So how do you view Kuldeep's inclusion? And I guess yeah, Ashwin doing his thing.
I think before Kuldeep and Ashwin, speaking about Bumrah was
Oh
missing for a long time. All the memes and everything, of
yeah,
him, when
just being
somebody gets
IPL
injured, like
ready.
exactly. And then you
Yeah.
see the video of Rohit Sharma popping his shoulder back, and you think, oh, Bumrah would have retired if this happened to him. So I think Bumrah's, his sort of second coming or his comeback after the injury,
Yeah.
he's sort of shown why he took his time. Speak about red ball, white ball. He's
Yeah.
been excelling in both in all formats, I'd say.
Yeah.
And so it sort of goes to show injury recovery and rehab how important it can be, and to not rush the process. We've
Yes.
seen guys who've been rushed in the past, especially in Bangladesh cricket, who've been rushed back from injury,
Yeah.
and you see them sort of lose their way.
Yeah.
So Bumrah, that's an example of a rehab gone right,
Yes.
and gone right in
And
more
that
ways than you
shows
could have
how
imagined.
much they put an emphasis on that in their NCA, because he was at an NCA for like months at a
I mean, he
time.
sort of lived there.
Yeah,
He
he
practically
started.
lived there.
Yeah, yeah,
And whereas our national academy is more like a hotel. Yeah. And moving forward with the spinners, I think in the past couple of years, India have had way too many spinners than they need. Like you
yeah,
look at guys like Chahal, Ashwin, Jadeja, now Aksar for the past, I'd say 12 months maybe.
yeah,
So they've got backup. Like they've got, if you think of guys spinning the ball into the right hander, you've got Kuldeep and Ashwin.
yeah.
If you think of guys spinning it away, you've got Chahal, who hasn't played Test cricket for a while,
Never, never,
if at all. Yeah,
never.
exactly.
Yeah,
So besides that, you've got Aksar and Jadeja spinning it away from the right hander. So you've got all the possible combination, all the permutations and everything. So for them, it is difficult to sort of choose who they want to play ahead of the others. And this is where I think India has to take an approach similar to England, where they rotate their bowlers, like you said.
yeah,
No Jadeja this time, so Kuldeep
yeah,
and Ashwin sort of they took on the role,
yeah,
and Kuldeep as well for his sort of second coming. Kuldeep as well has shown he's repaid the faith that the Indian selectors have shown in him. Even white ball, you've seen, he's lost a bit of weight, he's gotten fitter, he's come back in the World Cup and he did his wonder.
yeah,
And then now in red ball, when they're giving him a go, he's paying back the dividends. So I think because India have so many spinners they can play around with, they have that luxury to rotate them at will.
yeah.
Even if they're missing Jadeja, they've got Aksar. So like you
And
said, with
Axar bats too, so Axar
there you
gives
go.
you
Yeah.
that batting exactly. So
So with India, they've got, like, as long as they're ahead, they're in the lead. They've got the bowling stocks to do what they need to do.
yeah.
When they're falling behind, that's when they do all the funny stuff, like stand in the way of the batsman. So it depends on whose day it is, really.
That's
Hundred
how you know
percent.
you're getting to India, basically.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the things that Kevin Peterson, because Kevin Peterson has no filter, he pointed out in commentary. He's like, watch this get under 200, and England has 6 wickets left in hand. Watch how uncomfortable India starts getting. I was like, ah, shit. um, Rakimul, last question about this series. Washington Sundar didn't play a part in this match. Would you have played an extra spinner, or you think going into this third test match, do you think Washington Sundar might play a part?
Is Shami available?
No.
Shami, no.
He's not available. So
No,
I wouldn't mind going for the extra spinner. It does become very batting heavy. It
yeah.
becomes a proper 3-4 spin attack.
Football instead of
You have
home.
Kuldeep, you have Ashwin. Yeah, it's a 4 spin attack.
I mean,
And
Mukesh
at
Kumar instead of Mukesh Kumar, obviously.
yeah, of course. So
You
you're
can't do it.
putting in a lot of pressure on Bumrah for whatever the pitch has to offer for the Pacers. He has
Yeah.
to deliver 100% on himself. Having said that,
England went
I,
after
I, I don't
Mukesh
think I would.
Kumar, like completely. Yeah. No, no, no. Go on.
I,
Sorry.
I don't think I would do that though. I think I would even consider bringing Siraj back in. I don't think this one pacer attack works anymore because England aren't as bad against spinners as they
Yeah.
were a few years ago. And with
Yeah.
their aggressive intent, sometimes pace is the only way you can stop them. They
Yeah.
have the plans to attack every spinner, especially a finger spinner like Washington Sundar, who is very good with his defensive bowling, by the way, whenever it's
Yeah.
needed. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't just throw him in. I would actually consider playing two pacers again.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
England are here for a good time, not a long time. They just want to get their runs and get out of there as soon as possible. So if you think you can strangle them, no point.
Yeah.
because he's going to be back for the third test, I think. So, yes.
I think Siraj is back for the third test, right? So yeah.
It's
So
not
it just
for-
makes sense, like for like.
Yeah. Moving on, our penultimate topic for today: Australia versus West Indies. Um, three ODIs, 3 match ODI series. Not much to talk about, unfortunately. But Alvi, two guys I want to really touch upon: Fraser-McGurk, Xavier Bartlett. Fraser-McGurk got to play that second ODI and the third ODI. Sent Alzari for a mighty heave in that second ODI, but in the third ODI, 41 of 18, I think, look really good. Xavier Bartlett, personally, um, we saw Ronaldullah Borshan swinging the ball. This guy was also swinging the ball like crazy, and
Talk
he's
about relating to Bangladesh cricket.
relating to Bangladesh cricket. Yeah.
This guy is
Uh,
asking you the question, right? So he has to relate. For you to relate.
no, but yeah, so Bartlett played that first ODI and the third ODI. Um, just looked like that development path he went through with Queensland and with Brisbane Heat seemed to have developed really well for him. Lance Morris played in this series. I was expecting a lot more pace from Lance Morris. Didn't really see that express like 150 north of 150 pace, but still looked good as a bowler. Alvi, thoughts on those three
I
guys?
think before we get to them, starting off with Fraser-McGurk, I went ahead and I saw him at the Big Bash a couple of
Oh
weeks
yeah,
ago,
yeah,
and I think the thing that sort of strikes you about his batting is it is the definition of fearless batting. Like we saw, similar to what we saw from AB de Villiers at the back end of his career, like complete disregard for the bowler, what they're doing, where they're bowling. He couldn't care less. He's just there to swing the bat,
yeah.
and he gets it. He doesn't miss. He often gets it on the bat more than he misses. So he stayed true to his nature, his natural game, and he stuck to it, and it paid dividends for him in the third ODI, as well as the
Yeah.
second ODI. I don't think he got as many runs,
He got 10.
but
He got 10. He
got
got 1
10.
6,
But
1
yeah,
4, and then out. Yeah.
right. So that's the point I was getting to. This sort of an approach. You're gonna have hits and misses, but
Yeah.
at least he stuck to his approach. He didn't change his game, unlike a certain somebody in Bangladesh cricket, who completely changed their game so that people don't, roast them for how quick they get out.
Yeah.
Regardless, yeah, I think although that has been good for the team eventually at some points of time, not always, but yeah, Fraser McGurk, out and out, he's what you want from top order batsman like him, and he's perfect, right? The ODIs, T20s, more so for T20s. For ODIs, really depends on what kind of pitches you're playing on. I'd say if you're playing on seaming tracks in England, I wouldn't go with that approach, at least in his, at the early stage of his career. But if it's a
Yeah.
batting track, if the bounce is true and you can trust it, go for it. For the other guys, Bartlett was good. Like you said, he was swinging it like Borshon, but like I don't think it's something new to Australian cricket. We've seen guys like him who have come and gone. So it's pretty much stock standard what we expect from guys, coming up from this part of the world.
Yeah.
Lance Morris, I don't really have anything special to say about him. He's been a bit, underwhelming. You do expect more from these guys when you watch them play the Sheffield Shield and domestic competitions,
Yeah.
but it just goes to show how much of a difference it is between the domestic Australian and the international setup. So these guys coming in, they've had a great start because it was more of a series where the big guns sort of relaxed and they
Yeah.
gave the new guys a go. But it's also a series you can't take lightly on the back of losing to West Indies just a couple of days before. So for them, it really was a test of not only a test of play your debut series without pressure, but more like play your debut series with a considerable amount of pressure. So that's what we in Bangladesh cricket. You don't even get the new guys to play domestic Zimbabwe series.
Zimbabwe series. Yeah.
You throw
Yeah.
him in the deep end when the seniors are all either injured or whatever. So
Yeah.
once again, lots to learn from these guys. But
There's still a transition, right? Like you have to start introducing these guys slowly,
somewhere,
slowly,
yeah.
somewhere exactly, or else it just
When
doesn't
I
help. When Warner retires, someone else is gonna open today out of
and
nowhere.
and at least it's Steve Smith instead
Yeah,
of like for the
yeah,
ODIs. It's I
yeah.
think it's
It's okay. It's an easier transition.
what's
Exactly.
his name? I just said his name. For
Fraser
ODIs,
McGurk.
the Fraser McGurk, yeah.
Yeah,
So he's opening now instead of Warner, but then in tests you would need some more pedigree to be able to open just like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
But if that being said, since it was a West Indies series, with all due respect, they could have tried a new opener. But since they're going forward with Smith, I think it's smart to start now.
Yeah.
One more thing, just on that topic, I was looking at the pictures on Instagram that Cricket Australia posted. I don't know why they're posting pictures. Oh, no, they won the ODI series, so it's fine. But for the Test series, it was only them, not the West Indies team.
Yeah.
But for the ODI series, I was looking at the team photos and I was like, there are two Adam Zampas. So Sean Abbott looked like Pat Cummins with the shades on, and then there were two Cameron Greens because Spencer Johnson looks like Cameron Green, and there were two Adam Zampas because Fraser-McGurk looks like Adam Zampa. So I'm like, what the hell's going on? They all look the same,
It's just copy paste everyone.
bro. Same haircut. Ah, it's all the same. Everyone's going for mullets now. But anyways, I
Yeah,
like
all the
Shagor's
mullets.
new
Yeah.
haircut, and daddy
Shagar's
cut.
losing here. Shagar is
Yeah,
losing here.
more like Dev Dash. But anyways.
Rakimul, just from a batting point of view, some runs there for Kisi Cardi across two matches. He looked good. And then Cameron Green also got some runs, which will do him some good. So just bit of thoughts on those two guys.
With West Indies and their individual
And I
batting
guess West
performances,
Indies as a team. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
as a team, there isn't too much to say because it's always you always get these guys standing out when the team doesn't perform, but then they disappear within a month or two. Some other guy steps up, they have a few good games, and they again disappear. It's just it's a cycle that's been repeating itself again and again and again. It's
Yeah.
so very disappointing because in the second game they had done everything right for a good part of that first innings, but
Yeah.
unfortunately they just let it go with Sean Abbott basically taking the
Yeah.
game away from them.
Yeah.
So what's really disappointing, I guess, with West Indies, Casey Carty, as you said, he looked good, and Roston Chase, I think it was
Yeah.
in the
Good.
first game, he
Yeah.
looked pretty good as well.
Yeah.
But overall, they need to do better. They as a batting lineup, they 100% need to do better. Cameron Green has all the batting potential in the world. It's unfortunate that due to Mitchell Marsh being such a prominent and
The
obvious option
bison.
and
The
such a
bison.
direct competition, he doesn't get as many chances, but he's done pretty well at every format and every given opportunity, and this was no different. He's done well, and I hope that he sort of cements a particular spot for himself in the middle so that even if Marsh comes back, I say if Marsh will come back, so it's a
Yeah.
when. So when
Yeah.
Marsh does come back, he sort of still has a spot for himself.
Who took the
Shagor?
screamer at point? Was it Marnus?
Marnus, yeah, Marnus. Shagor, thoughts on Mitch Marsh being appointed T20I captain?
No thoughts because I was a bit surprised, but then again, I thought he was doing decently in the other formats, like the ODI, and
Okay.
then
Yeah.
he was running about in the test side playing, scoring runs at his home ground. So I think they're trying out options. I don't think Marsh they see as something of a long-term captaincy, but most likely if they're giving him the captaincy for the T20Is, they
T20 World
An
Cup.
eye
might
to the World Cup, exactly.
might make him the T20 World Cup captain as well for
Yeah.
their team. But any word on Shai Hope not contributing at all in the ODI series, given that he is averaging about 40
Yeah.
in ODIs?
I think
No,
one
no,
of the
yeah.
commentators mentioned that he's basically a home track, but they mentioned it in a very soft and sophisticated, very articulate way. That he is basically a home track bully. In the West Indies, the pitches don't have much pace anymore, and it's the pace that challenges him, not the spin.
No.
So again, quality pacers in these challenging conditions, he's just not the same batter, unfortunately.
And it just seems like as soon as there's movement happening off the seam, he's just complete. He's getting squared up a lot. He gets squared up consistently, and with bowlers that are good, they're
Now
gonna make it.
imagine this was Australia's second string attack.
Exactly. So
This is
imagine.
exactly what led to Shai Hope's Test career getting completely derailed, and now he's nowhere in the red ball form.
Get, think about it. This guy went to England and scored a lot of runs, and he looked like big money. And then after that, just against the moving red ball, just could not replicate it after it again. Uh, Last point, Kisi Carty actually qualifies to play for Netherlands because Sint Maarten is part of the Republic of
That's
Netherlands. So if Kisi Cardi has any interest in playing that T20 World Cup this year, he knows where to go.
Does
That's just
Netherlands have an interest in him though?
well, they picked Daniel Doram this year. They picked Daniel Doram, who's also from Saint Martin.
And he played
He
in the
plays
Windies,
for
right?
He plays for
Leeward Islands.
Leeward Islands, exactly.
Right.
So um, I don't know. We'll see. I'm about to mute Alvi because this guy has way too much background noise.
Yeah, he's someone's playing ping pong.
Yeah, freaking guy.
Adin, any last minute thoughts about Australia's chase? 6.5 overs. That
It's bullying at this point. It's just bullying. It's like men against boys kind of a
Or
situation.
Matthew Ford facing the
It's
worst of
revenge
it.
for the second test.
Huh?
It's
Well,
revenge
it's a
for the
revenge
second
for the
test.
second. Yeah, I think personally, I would have expected a lot more from Windies, given that they won that second test. I thought I was gonna see a lot more positivity or a lot more desire to actually do well in the series. I know Darren Sam is there as captain, coach, but it just didn't seem like these guys were really there. Teddy Bishop on his debut
yuck.
looked so scared. He just looked scared, straight up. And I remember Caribbean Cricket Podcast, these guys said it when he was picked that he's not ready for international cricket. Why are you picking him? And
And he doesn't have promising stats as well.
exactly, he doesn't.
Domestic.
They picked Tevin Imlach too, which is stupid. Whereas Hayden Walsh only played that one game and then got dropped because of what? For what reason? I have no idea. Given that Adam Zampa has so much success in Australia as a leg spinner, this is one thing you can hope. They dropped or they didn't select Yannick Carrier because he's in the PPL or he doesn't want to play or he didn't really do well, but whatever. Um,
Man, how did Budakesh Moti, from being a test specialist, get drafted into the ODI side?
I think that's the reality of West Indies cricket at this point is they're just picking and choosing whoever's available kind of
Available
a
to play,
situation.
yeah, for the
Yeah.
country.
Whereas Sharfain Rutherford gave a big speech after that ODI series win against England, and he's like, "Oh, it means so much to me. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. This that. Well, now you're playing freaking ILT20, so shut up." Like, what was all that speech for? And someone made a meme. It's like, Sharfain Rutherford achieved all his goals in ODI cricket after one home series where he won the where he scored 150 and helped them win the series. So, talking about men against boys, the last topic for today: South Africa versus New Zealand.
Speaking of which, boys, this man has to bounce. So good
Okay,
luck and enjoy.
thank you. All right. Yeah, Shagor, South Africa versus New Zealand. Thoughts on New Zealand setting a 500 something 29 run target? Was that really necessary? Or should they just have finished it with a innings lead and win by an innings yesterday?
As you were saying about Australia versus West Indies, I think it was downright bullying from at that point. They could
Yeah,
have even enforced the follow on and given the players 2 days of rest.
exactly.
I think I was going through the cricket for comments as well. The most people were saying it was to give their batsmen Devon Conway, maybe Tom Blundell more
Yeah,
time in the
just
middle
a bit of a hit. Yeah,
before
yeah,
the big series against Australia.
yeah,
But Conway, very surprising. He looked very much out of sorts in both the innings. He was
yeah,
very, very slow. He was not confident at all. Something to look at for New Zealand. Also, against South Africa, the bowling that New Zealand had, like they won comfortably, but there were phases where David Bellingham today, he was hitting their bowlers for sixes for fun. Bellingham,
yes,
I
yeah,
think 87 in very quick time.
yeah,
And I was also going through the commentary, and it said they were bowling 120, 125
yeah,
kilometers per hour bouncers to him, and he was just smashing it.
yeah,
So they were just saying, imagine if Australia comes and this is the sort of bowling they face. they'd have to pick up the ball from the streets. Yeah,
Yeah, David Bellingham, 87 of 96.
yeah.
13 fours and 3 sixes. So, yeah, very.
He had a SA20 deal. He opted out of the deal so that he could play this series and he
Yeah.
could establish himself as a test batsman.
Yeah, no, David Bellingham actually played first-class cricket as an overseas player for in England for many years.
Sorry, I think, or some, yeah.
Yeah, so at Durham, I think maybe.
Yeah. Damn.
And the reason he came back to South Africa is because he wanted to play
Check it
Test
out.
cricket. Yeah, and they were kicking out everyone after Brexit. But Alvi, how disappointing!
Ravindra.
How no, not Rachin Ravindra. Kane Williamson, 100 in both innings, and Rachin Ravindra double 100. What do you got to say? And this remarkable rise of Rachin Ravindra in the last 5 months or so.
You look at their youngsters and you look at ours. Rachin, I think, debuted 2021 when he first came to Bangladesh, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
And it's been 2 years since, and he's already a superstar. And then you look at Liton Das, who debuted 8 years ago, and where he is nine now. Okay, 9 years now.
Yeah.
So it really boils down to what you want from the game.
Yeah.
You see, Rachin, like you said, New Zealand could have declared much earlier, but they decided no, we'll keep batting because our batters, it's an opportunity to bat. So just bat in the middle, take your time.
Yeah.
But then again, like you said, Rachin getting 200 and Williamson getting 100 each. It doesn't really take anything away from Williamson just because Rachin got 200. It's more like a Karun Nair getting a 300 and then getting dropped doesn't make Kohli any worse compared to him.
Comparison with teams.
Yo, this is a valid comparison. You have to give it to them. Yeah.
So just because Nair got a 300 and Kohli hasn't gotten one yet, you can't compare the two, right? I'd say it's the same for these two. Williamson is going to be Williamson regardless. If he got 2 ducks and Rachin got 200, would have been the same anyways. So it was his day. That's it.
Shagur, for New Zealand, I think looking into the Australia series and for South Africa looking into this second test match, what do both teams have to come out take away in this next test, and what do we go, because looking at it might be another 3-day test match in that second match.
I think looking at Neil Brand's interview after the game, he said that it was very deflating for them to lose in such a way because they have given so many chances.
Yeah.
So they gave Williamson, Rachin, multiple batsmen, multiple chances, and that's how they prolonged their innings to hundreds and 200s. And if they had taken their chances, it could have been a different game. That's what he was saying, and I believe so as well. So for South Africa, it would be just do the basics correctly. Just ball that line and length for a longer period of time.
Were you surprised that Dwayne Oliver did not look threatening at all?
Yeah, I expected Olivier to be more threatening, but Neil Brand, surprisingly, out of all the bowlers,
six first.
They didn't pick any frontline spinners, South Africa. But then Brand comes up and gets a brand new 6 for. So, and I think they should improve on their catching. Like maiden 6 for, not brand new maiden. That was a very lame joke. Yeah. Anyway, so I think they should hold on to their catches. There were some easy jokes, and also their top order batsmen are not contributing at all. They're all leaving it to the middle order to somehow.
Were you surprised Keegan Peterson was batting at 6 instead of at 3?
Actually, in the beginning of the series, I was reading somewhere that he was gonna bat in the middle order. Maybe they're changing things up.
Yeah,
I don't know, but yeah, it's not normal for him to bat that low, number six. Usually in
yeah,
first class cricket, also I think he bats much higher. But
yeah.
yeah, I think some positives for South Africa. The pacer, I think Moreki, Shepo Moreki, he
Yeah,
looked good.
Shubhamuraki look good. Yeah,
Of course, the captain Neil Brand, he bowled some good deliveries with his left arm spin.
yeah.
But then the top order must fire. And also David Bellingham, he
Yeah.
looks a real good
He looks
find.
he looked good in the India series too. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
New Zealand, on the other hand, should be concerned about, you know,
Top
cleaning
order.
up the tail very quickly. And
Yeah,
also their top order was
yes,
Racing also failed in the second innings, but
yeah,
he has a double hundred.
yeah,
It's only time will tell if Rachin can survive at the top level, like in Test cricket, in New
yeah.
Zealand conditions, because this was not really a Test side they were
Yes, sir.
playing against.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was a domestic side,
yeah,
right?
Australia would be the real test.
Yeah. Alvi, last topic for the day, and I guess we should touch upon it a little bit, just like slightly, is Taskin Ahmed saying that he doesn't want to play Test cricket anymore, or as rumors suggest that Taskin Ahmed is willing to step away from Test cricket. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, just walk away, don't play.
Yeah,
With the Bangladesh cricket board, they won't take action until push comes to shove. Like they're that kind of people. So বাংলা যেটা বলি হাত থাকতে মুখে কি. So it's the same with Taskin, unless
yeah,
there's an ultimatum given to them that if you keep pissing me off by not letting me play the IPL, I'll just walk
yeah,
away. You can do whatever you want.
yeah,
So now that he's given them an ultimatum, or that we can believe, we've got reason to believe he has,
yeah, yeah.
they might take things seriously now. They might be like, okay, you can take this series off because you don't need Taskin for a Zimbabwe or a Sri Lanka home test series.
Literally, literally.
So let the guy play IPL, for fuck's sake. Let
Yeah,
him play IPL.
yeah.
So
He wants to. If he
exactly
gets a PSL deal, it's only good for Bangladesh cricket if he's playing there. If
in a
he's playing,
T20 World Cup
yeah,
year,
yeah,
why do you care if he's even if Taskin doesn't play ODIs? Don't. It's
yeah,
ODIs. Just play T20s for the next 6 months and then do whatever
yeah,
you like after that.
yeah,
So yeah, the board, unless they're given an ultimatum, they won't take things seriously. That's the first thing.
yeah,
Secondly, you look at the board, you look at guys like Sean Tate, who sort of withdrew last minute.
yeah,
You look at Roscoe, who they were going to sign, who
yeah.
I think applied for the role as well. They said, no, we've got our own ideas of people we can manipulate and people who Chandika wants. So I'm the
And
shortlist.
also Ross Taylor said, "Oh, I have league commitments and stuff, so that's why I'm not gonna." Well, you should have known this during the application process
When
that
you
yes, they
applied,
exactly
exactly.
like so both ways. It's just yeah,
It's just a circus at this point in time.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
nobody even cares. And Taskin, I think he's done the right thing. He should say, I am only available for Sena country tests and nothing else.
where you like, well, I'll actually get a pitch where I can bowl on rather
Where I can
than
make a difference.
yeah, than these
Instead of bowling it at
dead
Parket.
tracks. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, boys, thanks a lot. Longer than usual episode today, but had a lot to discuss. So thank you for your time, and obviously to our followers, please keep following Bagaradda and spreading
Yasir
the
Ali
word.
and Sabir Ahmed.
And it's Sabir Ahmed, exactly. Ahmed Sabir, not Sabir Ahmed, please.
Ahmed
Same.
Sabir.
But yeah,
Ahmed Sabir and Yasir Ali.
Shagor Alvi, thank you so much. And yeah, stay tuned to Bagaradda for more. Back again next week with another episode of JaaTaa.